Today we are going to be rocking some aluminum motor mounts from Yonaka. I just finished throwing in some steel ones a little while ago, but decided that these aluminum ones would look a lot better. These things are gorgeous. So this is going to be for the 96 to 2000 Honda Civics. It's going to work for the B or D series, so pretty easy install. Shouldn't take more than an hour, so I'll walk you guys through it and show you what the benefits are over the factory mounts. Huge difference. So I put the steel ones in when I put my B16 into my 99 Civic, and especially on launches, that B16 would love to jump around, and up to 8,500 RPM it likes to party, so we're trying to keep that in check. So I got some steel mounts, and they worked perfectly, super easy to install. These aluminum ones are pretty much the same, maybe a little lighter, but they look a lot better. So of course you want to take pride in your car, so without wasting any more time, let's jump right into it. We're going to unbox these bad boys. I'm going to show you guys what tools you're going to need and how to throw these in. And like I said, you can do it alone. Shouldn't take more than an hour. Let's get into it. Ooh! Right off the bat, we got some swag. White, black stickers. That's beauty. That's exciting. Ooh. Bet no one's as excited as I am. I bought a lot of car parts in my day. Wow. These are by far the best packaged ones I've ever seen. This is next level. Oh, ooh. Oh my god. That's beautiful. Wow. It's the gift that keeps on giving. That was a good amount of swag from one piece. This big boy should be the post mount. That blew my mind. This is continuing to blow my mind. Wow. Right, well here they are. These things are gorgeous. So these are going to be solid aluminum mounts, and they're just going to have these rubber bushings on the sides. Yonaka stamped on the bottom. These are just gorgeous. I'm so happy I went with this. So the ones I have, you'll see, they're just solid black steel ones. This is how they're going to be laid out in the car. So your trans mount, this is going to be the rear mount for your T-bracket, and then your post mount on the driver's side. So it actually gives you the mount itself as well as the bracket. So it'll mount like this on the vehicle. This is going to bolt to the posts on the front of your engine, and then to the chassis here. So once again, amazing quality. These are too good for my car, I'll be honest. So that's the mounts. So far, incredibly happy with how this turned out. Probably a good purchase. The steel ones, like I said, they work great, but these just look so much better. So just a comparison here, these are both going to be the rear mounts for the T-bracket, and you can just see the difference. So like I said, my biggest issue when I put my B16 in is I had too much engine movement. You can see here it doesn't take any force at all, and I'm able to move those a ton. So these do work from factory for a factory engine, but obviously if you're looking for more performance, you're going to want something a little more rigid, solid, and much better looking. Super cheap upgrade here, and obviously doesn't get much better quality than that. So before, after. So I'll show you guys what tools you need, and we'll jump right into throwing these in. Alright guys, so to be doing these motor mounts, you're going to need some basic tools here. You're going to want some basic sockets, specifically a 14, 17, and 19 mil. You're going to want a jack with a block of wood. The block of wood is going to be put between the oil pan and the jack, just to prevent any damage there, as well as some grease to help the mount slide into the brackets, a rubber mallet, pry bar would be helpful, and then a couple wrenches such as a 17. I like my ratcheting wrench, so brought that along. And then some tools that are helpful would be an electric impact with some extensions, adapters, and swivel, as well as the impact sockets there. And I went ahead and I lifted my car already. I do have it on some jack stands for other work that I was doing, but you can keep the wheels on. You might find it helpful to take the passenger side off. And the bumper came off, again, just for ease of videoing and access, so that's not super necessary. And then once we're up here, it's a good idea to remove your intake tube. And we're going to have our three mounts. We're going to have our transmission one on the passenger side. We're going to have our T-bracket one under the intake in the middle. Then we're going to have our post mount on the driver's side right next to your power steering, if you have it. If you do not have power steering, this is a little bit easier for you. So our plan of attack here is going to be leaving the transmission and driver's side post mount on. That's going to help keep the engine level and secure. And we're going to go ahead and attack the T-bracket at the back first. So if we're looking from the starter here, we're going to have our first bolt here, which should be a 17 mil. And then I believe there are two bolts on the other side underneath I can show you, and those are both going to be 19 mils for the T-bracket. And then the mount itself has three 14 millimeter bolts. There's going to be one there, one inside of this T-bracket, and one on the other side. I'll show you guys once we get this out. It's going to be a little easier to see. And then the bolt going through the center, you're going to have to access under your intake tube, and that's going to be a 17 mil. It's easiest to grab that either from underneath or the driver's side reaching under the intake manifold. So we're going to go ahead and remove those now. So from underneath I have the jack supporting the transmission near the rear, and I've gone ahead and removed one of these T-bracket bolts. These are 19 millimeter bolts. At this point, as long as you keep the other two mounts bolted on, you do not have to worry about the engine and transmission dropping on you. However, depending on how tight you have this jack supporting, once you remove these bolts, there is a chance that it will rock back. So just keep in mind, watch where your fingers are, and be aware of some pinch points. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this bolt, then we can jump up top and finish unbolting it there. So we're here underneath the crank and the driver's side wheel well. And this is going to be the ratchet here. This is for the center bolt in the bushing itself. And I find it's easiest to get at it here from underneath, right near the axle and your exhaust. You reach straight up and you're able to loosen it off that way. You can get from underneath the intake manifold from the top. I just find this the easiest spot though. So we went ahead, we got all the bolts out, so we're going to try and wiggle it all out this way. So we got our old mounts out. This is just a bunch of anti-seize, so we're going to go ahead and clean that off. Alright, so it's not necessary to pull the T-bracket out, but just so you guys can get a better look at it. This is how it would be sitting in the car if we were looking from our passenger side. And on this bushing, you're going to have the two bolts at the back, and you'll be able to get this third one here from the middle. Super hard to show, but it's actually super easy to get to, so that's how you get that one out. And since we're up here in Canada, and we got some gnarly winters, I put some anti-seize on the bolts as we slide them through so the bolts do not seize to the sleeve inside the mount. So that's kind of what this goop is. Doesn't look great, so gotta make sure we clean that off after, but that's what that is. Putting the new mounts in, super easy. Slam everything in nice and loose. And if we keep everything nice and loose, if we do have a hard time lining this hole up, you just take a screwdriver, or in this case this extension. We're able to slide it in and use that to help align our bolt hole. So go ahead, throw that in off camera, then we can move on to our next one. Alright, so we went ahead and got the mount back in there with the T-bracket bolted up. Now everything's snug, but it's not tight as you can see, and that's going to allow just a little bit of play. Now we're going to move over to our transmission mount, and we have moved the jack so it's supporting it almost right under here. All the bolts for this one are going to be 17 mil, and I find it's easiest to loosen off the three for the bracket here. And then we have to completely take off. There's three for this one. There's going to be one right at the top, one in the bottom left, and then there's going to be one right at the bottom in the middle. Top two are easy to get to. The bottom one you may have to use a wrench for. And then we can bust this one loose, the center bolt, pop it out, swap in our new one. So I got all the bolts off for the mount to the chassis. Pull the center bolt out. And go ahead and wiggle our mounts up and out. Now with some of these mounts, you may have to use a mallet and pry bar to kind of convince it back in its place. If you have to beat it with a hammer, something's wrong. So just kind of stop what you're doing, reevaluate it, see what's going on, because these should really go in pretty easy, especially with some grease. So we're going to apply a bit of grease to each side. I put some anti-seize inside. We're going to go ahead and slip this in now. You can see with everything being nice and loose, it's going to be a lot easier to line it up. Slam that in there. Take our bolts, and we can just start slamming it together. Alright, so we went ahead and we moved our jack and we put our block under the oil pan, moved it to the driver's side. And if you don't have power steering, all you have to worry about are these two bolts here. Those are going to be 17s. Then you're going to have 3 14s, one there, and one on either side here. If you do have power steering, just got to lift up your reservoir here. You may have to undo this hold down bolt if you have that equipped, and then you're able to access all the bolt holes. So we're going to go ahead, do this post mount, and then we're almost done. And then this one's pretty much the easiest one to put in. Once we drop it in, we do want to tighten up this center bolt here, as it comes a little loose so we can twist it. Alright guys, we just got the driver's side post mount in, and it's a little bit more of a hustle. The aluminum one definitely is a little bit more of a precision fit. The holes for the post mount right off the engine, the tolerances are a little bit tighter. So it did actually take a bit of thinking to get this put in properly, but you have to drop it in pretty much flat. So heads up for the next person, because I kicked my ass for a bit. And the only other issue I found is with power steering. I did have to bend this bracket back a bit, just so my factory hose would clear the mount here. It was pretty close and it was touching, so I just gave it a bit of a tweak, and now we are good to go. So all the bolts pretty easy to get to. The center bolt here is going to be a 14 and a 13 mil to tighten that up once you have everything in. And then the 14 mil bolt, the third one, is right underneath here at the bottom. And then I used a flex head 1/4 inch ratchet right through here. You can also reach it from this side if you did not have power steering. But other than that, pretty easy. Just gotta make sure that you do drop it in pretty level. So we're gonna lower our jack down. Nice. We're gonna go through now. We're gonna tighten up all the mounts, clean up our mess. If you disconnected the battery, connect it back, put your intake back on. Then we're going to fire it up, make sure we have no bad noises, double check that everything's nice and tight. So once again, this is my 99 Honda Civic Sedan EK. We have our B16. We got these nice, beautiful aluminum mounts in, and they look good. So I just need to give it a nice wash and make the rest of it presentable, but I love these mounts. They make a huge difference, and they work for the B series and the D series in a 96 to 2000 Honda Civic. So once again, I'll put the part number right here, but strongly recommend these mounts. So huge shout out to Street Imports and Yonaka. I got these things within a week, and for how cheap they are, especially if you're going from stock mounts, huge difference. So I strongly recommend. Pretty straightforward job on bolt. You just gotta make sure you watch your fingers. So I hope this helps, and thank you guys for watching.